Hello and welcome. You tuned into My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. What has happened in game one of Saturday? A proper thumping handed out by Kolkata to Delhi. It's almost an innings defeat. Yeah, have a look. It's a big one. Well, today, 59 runs. That's the difference. 59. Oh, there it is. Thank you. 59 runs is the difference. That's a big difference for me. That's a proper thumping. Dub thumping. One of the songs from your youth. Dub thumping.
Dub thumping. Oh, I'm trying to think how I go. I get knocked down,
but I get up again.
They must get up again.
They got up again, Kolkata, didn't they? I'll tell you what, compared to last game to now, KKR has done a Tivatia.
Yeah, indeed. And that margin of victory, so always when you look at that margin of victory, you've got to try and put it in context and then try and figure it out, sort of, how far away are they? And ask yourself how long it would take to score 59 runs, because that's what they're short by. In their power play, they weren't 59. What were they, 40 or 42, something like that?
35. I think they were 35, 36.
There you go.
That's all they
35, 36.
Delhi.
So, if you have a good power play, you score about 59 runs in the 6 overs. And that's on a good day, you're going really well. So that is, to use your word again, that is a thumping.
It's a top thumping, Polly. KKR will be very, very pleased. Besides the first 7 or 8 overs of their batting, they were just in control of the game pretty much right through. I think 32 overs, they were just in control of the game.
Yeah, that's still that top three is a bit of an area of concern and something they'll address, I'm sure. But they need to stick with this kind of combination, as we mentioned. We didn't see this kind of form coming. We thought Delhi Capitals would have it over them. But I must admit, I would be very disappointed if I was Ricky Ponting. I think it's their worst game by far.
Yeah.
I think the intensity, that was something he always prided himself on, like running between the wickets, trying to put people under pressure. When Punt was at the crease there wasn't really much happening. They weren't trying to put anyone under pressure, and it looked like they were just almost relying on a couple of big overs, which never came. But yeah, Kolkata will be happy, very, very happy with their performance. I think, even the performance of Nareen. I mean, you don't often look at it like this, but 64 of 32, and then he bowls 24 balls and only goes for 37. So, it's a real surplus as the impact he as an individual has had in the game. And in many ways, with Russell not playing, they needed someone to do that. And, he stepped up in a different role and absolutely delivered. All those bowling figures from Kolkata were very impressive. The economy rates look superb. And then Chakravarti, what a star he was today.
Jesus. Talk about save the best for last now, Pommie.
Oh, goodness gracious. 5 wickets in 4 overs. Goodness gracious. What is going on?
5 wickets in 3 overs, Pommie. Just 3 overs.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, he still bowled 4. I'm just saying,
they should have taken him out of the attacker.
I think he was going for 6th and 7th.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it's out of this world. 5 wickets in 3 overs. I'll use yours, Shaun. 3. Yeah, it's one of those performances that I don't think even they kind of will believe they've done this, They must in order to go on. And we said before and used the word spark. It's not a spark at all. It seems like it's a whole flame, a rather big forest fire.
Inferno.
In terms of Kolkata. And in looking for the areas that have improved or the things that have improved, I think what you do is you clutch at the things that you want, right? One, from a personal perspective, think of the trial and the tribulation that Narayan has gone through. Yeah. And then he comes and does that. And you could see on the field in the way that the guys would run past after they finished bowling to say well done and walk off. And secondly, I think Cummins with the ball, it's been tough for him. He's just not had an impact at all. And today to be 2 for 5 or whatever it was in the power play, that was exactly right. And it's what they need in order to kind of get their side started.
Yeah, he's doubled his haul of the tournament. It's taken him his 11th game, perhaps, Polly, to do it. But there's just so many pluses for Kolkata to take from this game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after the lowest of lows in their last game, they would have been away licking their wounds. They talked about had a good net session and a reboot, a rethink. And, often what you need in these situations is your big players to step up. Your experience of Nareen with the bat, your experience of Cummins with the ball, set the brilliant tone up front. And, yeah, they'll be very, very happy. It opens up a nice little gap for them as well on the table. And if they look at their fixtures to come, they've got to back themselves to win maybe one, maybe two of those. So, could they find themselves through? I just think the next 3 games, they need to show a little bit of stability with the side they choose and continue to back the players who are in that mix. They've got to find a way to get some form out of the top 3. I think they've struggled. I don't know. Kartik, I think a change of role, maybe for him at 6 and then to shift Morgan up to 4 would probably be the best option for them. But their bowling's looking good now all of a sudden. And now that that Nareen's found an action that he's probably going to work with for the rest of the campaign, that's really good. Chakravarti, I mean, brilliant. I think of the impact he would have had if they'd been playing in Kolkata. I think that surface will absolutely suit him whenever they do get back there in the RPL. But it's amazing. I mean, one game and it can look a lot more rosy in the RPL.
Yeah, but here's what changes today. What they've got from Narayan today is what they've been wanting from Russell, actually. 4 overs and runs and 64 runs at a 200 strike rate. Now you leave Russell out, you get Narayan in, which means that you actually can pad your bowling and you go in with 6 proper. Pommie, he had 6 proper bowling options today.
Yeah, he did. And I suppose in the end, what you look at is what the potential of the people on the field is. And there isn't really, I mean, Narayan himself, what he's done over the years is something similar, bar that he hasn't taken wickets today. So he's had an impact on just about every game that he's played for them. Now, that impact has been on top of the impact of Russell. And the fact that we're looking and saying, oh, Narayan's done what Russell kind of has been expected to do, it illustrates where we're at, doesn't it? It illustrates where Kolkata are at and where they were prior to this game and all this happening, that all of a sudden it is surprising us because we couldn't see it coming. There's no ways we could see it. Not that we didn't expect they have the capabilities, but they've just not been able to put it together or have anyone impact a game as he did today. So going forward, the hope comes back, all of it, and perhaps even a little bit of expectation. And that now, if and when Russell is fit, they slot him back in and hope both can do the job. And I know it creates a bit of a problem because you've got to choose who you're going to leave out and all of that. But that's exactly what they're after. They'd rather be with that scenario than the one where they're trying to leave out a guy because he's not going so well. Which one's doing worse? You know what I mean?
Correct. You'd rather have that happy problem of having more people than you need rather than less than you need. Delhi, of course, will look at today and say that they were hopeless today. They really were. They've had 2 really bad days on the field and they will dislike what they have seen today. I'll tell you, 2 other teams will also dislike what they saw today from Delhi, which is Punjab and Hyderabad, the other 2 teams that are playing today. And that's what you saw. And just one last word before I move on to Punjab and Hyderabad, just a sec. Rishabh Pant, right? Rishabh Pant today was out felling trees, wasn't he? That's not what they needed from him today, Paulie. He was just swinging for the fences.
As a relatively young player and someone who's been in the international fold, you expect, it doesn't always have to be quality performances, but you expect intensity from him. And we don't see it. And that would be the frustration for me. We know what he's capable of. He hasn't shown us the fireworks. They've tried to remold his approach to the game and try to make him a little bit more mature. But, prime example is someone like a Kohli and de Villiers. When you see them together, sure, they might not be crashing boundaries at certain times, but they're running between the wickets is like they're intense. They're out there. They're trying to make this game happen any way they can. and then the firepower will come. Whereas these guys almost, it's the stages is like, well, knock it, jog through for one, or I mistimed that. I'll probably get it right the next one. It's not that kind of game. We've seen a lot of that from CSK as well throughout the season, with the lack of intensity from the older guys, and eventually that tends to catch up with you. So, I think Ricky will have a few words. I mean, the way Ashwin went about it wasn't to their original plan. There were some good things from some of the fast bowlers, but the batsmen, there's been a lack of intensity now for 2 or 3 games, and that's something they'll have to address.
Too many dot balls.
I wonder, guys, if in terms of being able to afford a loss, in terms of needing a loss, in terms of needing the wheels to fall off at a certain time and being able to afford it. Those team meetings we've seen on Twitter and on Instagram, where everything's been hunky-dory and everything's going well, so you're getting nice things, you're man of the match, you've done well. We probably won't see this one, right? That they're going to have in their change room, because it's going to be some harsh truths dealt out, right? But the harsh truths and, the scoldings that might well take place are just so that there's the realization that there's nothing can be taken for granted in this tournament. If they didn't realize it, if they didn't know it, now they do know. The good side is that they can somewhat afford it because of where they are, because of how well they've gone to this point. The challenge becomes, though, having gone so well and then gone off the boil in this game, can they get back on the horse and be back where they were? Or are they suddenly under some sort of pressure and unable to freely express with their skills like they've done before? So, I think it probably does come at a good time. But the question will be whether they can get back to what they were.
That's right. I mean, you say it's a good time till it happens 3 out of 3, and then you're thinking, wait, we got a problem now. So they may just be on the cusp of a problem. Let's look at the points table, and you'll see what we're talking about. Suddenly, the surety of Delhi finishing in 1 and 2, right? Suddenly you don't have that surety, because Mumbai and Bangalore both are tied on points, but they both have a game in hand, right? Which means there's a potential that they can overtake Delhi, and suddenly Delhi is then fighting for their place in the top 2. And if they lose the next game as well, well, you never know. So Delhi does have a lot of questions. But I'm talking about 2 other teams who are disappointed with Delhi's performance today, because they would have wanted them to hold Kolkata back so that they have a fighting chance for that 4th spot. Is these 2 teams who are going into Dubai to play today. I tell you, they would have probably gone in with a different mood had Delhi won today. Now they're just going down, right? Because it would have really been different, because it would have been a little more cluttered there with Kolkata being within reach of these 2 teams. Hyderabad has won the toss, and David Warner decided to have a bowl first. Punjab will be batting first. They've got 2 changes. Strange, though. I mean, there's no Mayank Agarwal. Perhaps with the niggle, can't be dropped on form for sure. Definitely has a niggle or something. Mandeep comes in his place. But the surprising one is Chris Jordan. Pommie, I don't know if you know, but is Chris Jordan's contract say that he can only play 1 game in a row?
Do you remember the time when all the injuries were going on? I think it was in the Aussie camp, where they were saying, okay, these guys can't bowl more than X number of deliveries. When the likes of Stark and Cummins and Hazelwood and Pattinson, when they were really young and just coming into international cricket, and they just kept breaking down. Maybe it's that sort of scenario. I don't know. They were the first ones I assigned the phrase jumbled minds to, because you pick a first 11 on day 1, you play 2 or 3 days later, and that 11 has changed. Not through injury. You've just decided someone else is better. Same ground, same pitch, same everything. I don't know. I don't know
what surprises me. You know what surprises me there, though, is you talk about Punjab mind being jumbled, but the coach there is Jumbo, right? I mean, he's Jumbo. Polly, Jumbo's never been jumbled on a cricket field, right? So there's obviously other influences there.
Yeah, he was very single-minded, had a very clear-cut strategy, and just stuck to it for his whole career. So maybe he's looking to express himself more in the coaching department. We never know. But I'm fascinated to see how this game goes, because with Mayank not playing, as we mentioned there, Cramps, the universal boss, Chris Gale, will go to the top of the order. And he's a very clever cricketer, and he has been throughout the IPL. All the years he's played, he tends to target certain individuals. We saw it in the last game. What did he get? He got 29 or 13 deliveries, and he took on Tushar Depante. There was a 1 over. I mean, you look around, you got Rabada, you got Nortje, you got Ashwin, who's had his number a little bit, and you're thinking to yourself, well, how am I going to be successful here today? And he realized the opportunity, targeted it, and took him over 20 in the over.
Changed the game.
I think this bowling attack that he's coming up against today is another case in point where he'd fancy himself up front there. There's no one who's high pace. Bhuvi's missing. I don't think Rashid will come into the attack pretty quickly. So this could be his opportunity. Jason Holder, he'll know pretty well, and I don't think he'll have any fear factor about him. So this could be his opportunity to really press the button early, get himself in with a few deliveries, and then cash in those first 6 overs. So I think it could be thoroughly entertaining if the universal boss gets going.
Khalil has come in place of Shahbaz Nadeem in that squad. But I want you to quickly make your squad as well on my11circle.com. You go and you download the app, and then you pick 11 players from Hyderabad and Punjab, mix them up real good, and come up with the winning combination. That's what you do, and try to beat the other. I'll tell you one player you should have, and that's why he's on my 11 circle trump card. We believe that you should have David Warner in your team, because David Warner today chasing, that's 1. 2, he does well against Punjab. He likes playing against them. So could today be the day that he puts off the handbrake, as Lisa calls it, and really takes that car down for a spin on the expressway. Of course, depends on how many Punjab gets when they go up there. But also want to quickly talk about Shami, who's on our boost stamina meter, of course. And why would he not be? Because he just has been fantastic. Well, but a few other bowlers looked rusty for me. He was the one guy who hit the ground running, didn't he, from his first game?
Yeah, I remember that first game. And it was at a time when, and remember when we were talking about the battle for fourth and saying, look, Sunrisers and them, Punjab as well as Kolkata, were saying how they were playing well. And the reason was, I remember that first game, he ran up and got the ball through because the ball was still bouncing quite nicely there. And it would also pitch it up quite nicely. So what did he get? I think 4 He might have got 4 actually in the very first game that he played. But in the power plays, they were good. Him and Cottrell, him bowling nice and full, swinging it to the right-handers and getting wickets. So, yeah, Shami is a good bet, and he's coming back into form, I would say, since that super over where he was asked to do that rather tough job.
Yeah, I think the one point of his bowling up front, he was brilliant with the new ball. It was just that little spell at Sharjah where maybe a little bit of doubt crept into what his game plan should or shouldn't be at the death overs. Yeah. And then, as you say, Pom, that defending, that 6, that gives him he walked off the field, you could see he was on the cloud 9 for having done that job. And I think it'll give him a huge boost in the back end of this tournament for those kind of jobs that he might be called on again.
Well, we just have one last piece of business, of course, which is nobody got the My 11 Circle badge of honor in the first game because Kolkata got way more runs than we expected. Delhi got way less runs than we expected. Now with Punjab, Chris Gayle opening, whoa! Do you wanna let's attempt it again. Let's see. Third time lucky, perhaps, gentlemen. Third time lucky. Punjab, how many are they gonna get in 20?
Come on, Pommie.
Oh, okay. 186.
186.
I'm going 177.
Dubai, right? This is Dubai.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I think then I'll lowball it now, just to make sure that we've got it all covered, right? So I'll go to 168. 168. Okay. All right. Those are our guesses. I don't know, man. Today's just that kind of day. We're just getting nothing right. We're getting no prediction. We're getting no guesses correct. Hopefully we'll get it. If we don't, then for the second innings, I will have the easiest game ever. You will just have to tell me how many balls will be bowled in the first over, right?
And we'll get that one wrong as well.
We'll choose 6, 8, and 10, and we'll give a 1-ball swing. So we can bowl up till 5 extras. And we've got it covered. All right, well, that's all we have time for. We're going to come back at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox to do a little stock check of how Punjab's batting effort is going. I want to thank Pommie and Shaun for, of course, joining me. Gaurav Kapur, you were watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. We'll see you in a bit.